Hello and welcome back to Raging Loop. And we're starting off in this menu today because, well, this is the first menu that pops up. And I've kind of read through it, what it says here, but I didn't really think about it. And today I opened the game up and I was like, save data is independent for each language. And I found that really interesting. No idea how they programmed the game if that is a necessity. It might just be, I don't know, convenience, a design choice. But if it has to be that way, that would be interesting to find out why. But anyway, we'll continue after we've made it through this part where I now click through the intro and eventually get to the load save thing. There we go. That was the last one, right? Yeah. Okay. I've kind of forgotten where we were at because, well, it's been 2 weeks. But we'll get right back into it. All that was left now was to get some nutrients to support my hardworking brain, right? As confident as ever. I'm sorry I couldn't prepare anything better. She ladled what appeared to be rice gruel from the large pot. It was a thick white soup with vegetables, rice, and something brown inside. Game meat. Is it fermented? Yes, the fresh meat was spoiled. Jimmy, I whispered to her. What do we do? What do you want to do? We were talking about the thing where I had to avoid the local food. You know what? I'll stick to my diet until the end this time. Okay, thanks. What did I mean by this time? Did I think I had another life or something? It was fine. It wasn't like I was cool with dying just on the off chance I got a second shot. Dying wasn't an acceptable option. I wasn't about to compromise on that. There's no point in walking around, so I'll just wait here. Alright. You're not going to eat? I have a bunch of allergies. It's because you young ones don't eat proper. You won't become strong if you don't have a balanced diet. Hey, I was lying, but telling actual allergy sufferers that they should just eat and they'd be cured was actual murder. Well, there were some efforts to cure allergies by carefully injecting the allergens via vaccine, but that was a subject for the doctor. Anyway, going back to the dorm by myself was dangerous, since they'd suspect me, so I just waited in the corner of the room, still hungry. Where are Yasunaga and Haru? Still upstairs? Don't mind them. Your food will get cold. Ma! I'll go call them. I went up the stairs, and when I reached the second floor, I stopped for a moment. I heard some rustling. Was it possible they'd gotten that intimate in just a few minutes? Was I about to ruin the mood? Well, food was important too. I said to get their attention and slowly went up, making sure I was loud enough for them to hear me coming. It's lunchtime. Oh, Yasunaga? Hello. The room was full of stuff. It was a huge mess. You looking for something? No luck, huh? Yes, I was told there was a new apron in the attic, but we couldn't find it there, so we were checking other places too. So that was it. Did you see? Huh? Could you not tell anyone about this? Well, I did come up carefully, but it's not like I saw anything I shouldn't have. Are you going at it? What are you saying? I'm kidding. I know you wouldn't do something like that at a time like this. Of course we wouldn't. Yeah. Really now? I was still kinda worried. Anyway, why not take a break and get some food? They didn't argue. As we prepared to go back, there was a loud noise from downstairs. What? Yasunaga and I looked at each other, then ran out of the room without saying a word. We were met with a strange scene. I instantly realized what had happened and who was responsible. Kyonosuke was wearing a furious expression, his shoulders shaking. There was a shattered plate of rice gruel at his feet. The contents were still steaming. He was facing Kaori Oribe, who was standing completely still. Did he throw his food to the floor? Was it that bad? No way, this was clearly something way bigger than that. What's gotten into you? Jimmy and the others didn't seem to understand either. They shifted uneasily. Anne? What? Wolfsbane, the plant. There's aconite in the food. What? Mako, did you eat any? Not yet. What about the rest of you? Hold on, I'm so lost. Is that true? Look at these leaves. They shine. The other side isn't white and the tip is pointy. They smell different too. This isn't mugwort or windflower. You're right. It's wolfsbane. You used wild plants, Mom? Yes. That was close. What a mistake. Someone almost got poisoned. She wants to kill us. Huh? Wait. It was just a mistake. That's it. Don't be so cruel. Haru stopped talking when she realized the suspect was acting strange. Kaori was staring right at Kyonosuke, not moving an inch, smiling. She was completely glaring him down. Yes. That response was so delayed we had no idea what it was for. When Kyonosuke backed away a bit, his expression shifted from rage to fear. Mom? You should all die. As she stood there, wailing madly, she brandished a knife. She was hardly moving quickly, but the sight of the blade had stunted our reflexes. I'd seen some bizarre corpses here. I'd bore witness to what pure malice could do. But still living, blatant malevolence, killing intent, was intense enough to paralyze everyone present. I barely registered the scene unfolding before me. Staggering a bit, the woman passed the counter. The sharp knife was still green with something, likely shavings of aconite. She raised her voice and aimed her poisoned weapon at the nearest target, Kyonosuke. Well... Tackling her is probably going to get us killed. Finding a nearby weapon is going to get Kyonosuke killed. That is my expectation. What are we going to do with a nearby weapon? You know what? We'll tackle her. I don't know why I moved when I did. I was a man of words, not of impulse. In times of crises, I was the type to turn tail and run after making some sort of passing threat. I shouldn't have been on good enough terms with either Kyonosuke or Kaori to risk my life for them. Yet when I came to my senses, my body was dancing, charging straight for Kaori with my right shoulder. And after a brief struggle, we collapsed. I heard her let out a strained cackle in my ears. I had to change my posture. Unless I pinned her knife hand down, But in the end, it turned out I really wasn't cut out for the job. These roundabout thoughts were just delaying the inevitable. When a madly laughing woman embraced me, my thoughts ground to a complete halt. She'd stabbed me right in the back. Simple as that. Yep, expected. To her, I was just another obstacle that had to be removed. I didn't know if the wound itself was fatal, but I could tell that the blade had sunk in incredibly deep, and that it was coated in leaf green poison. It must have been a near instant death. My mind quickly grew hazy, yet my final moments were those of self-reflection. Reckless actions really aren't my forte, after all. Bad ending number 5. Watch hint corner? No. I think the solution to that one is pretty obvious. Guess it was just a dream, right? Do better next time. Yeah. Where does it start us back up? Oh, it actually starts us back up right at the start. Okay. Oh, we actually do have a choice here too. Okay, but we will just go right back to where we were. Here. Yep. We'll find a nearby weapon. I had no idea why my body began to move. I grabbed the nearest chair without even thinking about it. It was old, wooden, and heavy. Picking it up made me lose my balance for a bit. I pointed its legs at the would-be murderer and dashed forward as fast as I could. A crash, a cry of pain, a scream. Amidst the cacophony, I attempted to keep Kaori pinned down. I pressed the edge of the chair against her knife arm. She cried out in pain and the blade clattered to the floor. Jimmy then quickly kicked it away. In hindsight, it had all happened in a mere matter of seconds. In fact, tying her up was way harder, what with her foaming at the mouth and struggling. In the end, we bound her limbs and gagged her to silence her bloodthirsty screams. With that done, we had no choice but to face reality. I know I'm probably not the best person to ask, but what do you even do about this? 6 of us stood in the mists right outside the dining hall. Kaori was locked inside. She's also become a Yomibito. No, that can't be. She's just not feeling well. I guess she was really pushing herself. Of course she was. Do you have any idea how important Yoshitsugu was to her? He was foolish, short-tempered, and annoying, but no, that's exactly why she treasured him so much. She often said that he was as reckless as his father. I'll take responsibility and calm her down myself. Please forgive her for this. We should decide this at the feast. Please wait. This is a personal outburst that has nothing to do with the feast. Keep her out of it. How can you be so certain? She might have succumbed to the corruption. Osato? Everything in the mist has to be decided at the feast. Breaking that law risks falling victim to the corruption. That's true. Very well, let's go. No, Yasunaga, she'll be killed. I won't let that happen. Fuzashi, please look after her. Not gonna lock me up again? No one replied. Apparently it didn't matter anymore. Jimmy. She was making the same face she did whenever she talked about God. I knew this would happen. Strangely enough, there was emotion in her eyes. I could see 90% resignation and 10% fear. Watching me until she finally passed out of sight, she followed the others toward the hall. Where's the sake? Can we just skip that part? The cleansing is important. Here you go, Nosato. Thank you. That hits the spot. You too, Chi. Yasu. You just take a lick. What about One-chan? Uematsu-sama can't be here anymore. I'll look after this girl. What's the point? Chia, get a grip. And let's begin. I vote to hang Madame Oribe. For what reason? She's dangerous. In that case, I will vote for Rikaku Uematsu for the same reason. What about the rest? This is a temporary vote for now. Say what you think. I think we should hang both. It doesn't really matter what order. I can't think straight right now. We should hang Rikaku Uematsu. We can at least talk to Kaori, but Rikaku Uematsu is a mad beast. What about you, child? They're eating One-chan. What's that supposed to mean? Listen, if you want to protect Rikaku, then vote to hang Kaori Oribe. She won't understand. 3 didn't vote, and the 3 who did are in favor of hanging Uematsu. It's decided. This is absurd. Is this how you repay her for moving here and working so hard on our behalf? Hear me out, William. My mom is just a bit out of it right now. We may still be able to reason with her. However, Uematsu is basically a mindless animal. She doesn't even have the capacity to vote on things. Unlike mom, she's a Yomibito now. Even if we hang my mom today, what will we do tomorrow? Do you have a way of fixing Uematsu? Looks like it's decided.
How simplistic. I know you're biased because Madame Oribe is a relative, but you don't see the big picture.
What?
Think about it. Our top priority is to kill the wolves. That comes before all else. Yomibito aren't wolves, are they? That basically proves that Rikako isn't a wolf.
Huh? What do you mean?
Remember the legend. The wolves are Yomotsu Okami, beings already corrupted by Yomi. Do you really believe they can become Yomibito as well? Yamawaki, what's your opinion?
That might be true.
Here's a hypothesis. Powerful corruption slaughters you like it.
What is he saying? Wait. I don't think that sentence makes any sense. No, it does make sense. It's just missing a comma.
Powerful corruption slaughters you, like it did those journalists and your brother.
Proper punctuation is very important for readability.
However, weaker levels of corruption cause madness. Mad guardians are wolves, while mad humans are Yomibito. That means that the corruption's punishment can only be slaughter for wolves, and either slaughter or Yomibito transformation for humans.
That's just a convenient delusion.
Indeed, I have no way to prove it, but I can make it seem more plausible. If wolves could go mad due to the corruption, would they even look like Rikako does? These are beasts disguised as humans. Would they truly look like that if they'd gone mad? I think the beasts would show their true selves, their bestial fury. Is that what happened to Rikako? No.
That might be true. Then maybe we should hang Kaori first.
Tae?
You're basing your decisions on fairy tales. We've had actual deaths here. This is ridiculous.
I'm the one who's ridiculous. To accept the fear of the corruption means to accept the legends. See, I've accepted it. Fearing the corruption while disregarding the legends is what's truly ridiculous, don't you think?
Chie.
I'm afraid of God. I'm afraid of this God who toys with us as we dance on his palm.
What are you saying?
Regardless of... No, because of that, we need to fight back against our fears. For that, we need weapons. Haruaki.
Huh?
Why him? I vote for you, Yasuku.
What?
What, Chie? I'm not sure I understand you, Serizawa. Nosato, start the proper vote. There's no point in just talking.
Huh? But this is going to happen sooner or later. And if she's truly casting her vote, it's only fair for us to cast ours. But whether I can forgive you or not is another story, Chie.
I know. No objections? Then let's begin the vote. Here's what I think. Nosato is half right. We're supposed to search for wolves here. But I'm completely against relying on the legends for evidence. Mochi, the old wolf guy, and Takumi all died at the hands of people. That's why we should look back over what's happened so far, instead of the legends. So how about this? First, who aside from me understood the purpose of the feast? Nosato said it himself. Meiko is too young to understand, and Haru... Honestly, I think she'd oppose Nosato and side with Yasu regardless of the situation. Tai would look to the legends, obviously. She's the biggest believer here. What about Yasudo? I know it's been hard for him, and with his mum about to be hanged, I can understand why he'd panic. But then why push for Rikako's hanging? It's easy for us Yasumizu people to justify hanging the village heads, but you should understand what comes first. Death of the damned Yomibito is the mandate. We should be looking for the immediate threat at hand, the wolves, before worrying about those words. The Yasukun I know would keep a cool head, even in a crisis.
Chie, I understand what you're saying. I just can't forgive him. Whenever you talk, it always makes a mess of things. Takumi, Yoshitsugu, and Mochi are dead because of you. And now you want to take my mother? I'm sick of you.
What's wrong? Calm down.
So yeah, I forgot about the purpose of the feast. It was just an act of petty revenge. I used Haru for that. Like you said, that's all there is to me. I'm a pretty boring person. Are you still not satisfied?
Yeah, this is totally out of character for you. Yasu, I'm probably just looking too deeply into it, but when Kaori set the food, only you and Haru were absent. If the others had all been poisoned as planned, you'd be the only survivors, Haruaki notwithstanding. If you were a wolf, that would be pretty good for you, right?
Are you suggesting I convinced Mum to poison everyone?
That would be just the worst. She probably got the wolf's banes early in the morning. She was too busy otherwise, and it did look like she woke up early. By that point, she was already resolved to kill us. It's easy to imagine that someone had given her the idea the previous night. What? But we can't contact anyone at night. There are 2 wolves. What? For the sake of her only living son, Kaori was ready to kill everyone, even if it meant being subject to the corruption. But I'm human. If you only had the wolves and a lone human at the end, votes would no longer matter. Haru wouldn't be able to do anything. No way. Yasukun.
It's impossible. I mean, if Mom were a wolf, Yoshitsugu wouldn't have died. She could have killed me to spare him, though. You think I convinced her to do that? She would never listen. She loved him way more than me.
Chie, this is cruel. There's no way he'd say anything like that to his mum. I'm not saying the wolves killed Yoshi. He might have just been out at night and killed by the corruption. Also, even if she wasn't a wolf, she'd help her son even if it meant falling victim to the corruption. It sounds like you're saying whatever you can to make me into a bad guy. What's wrong with you, Chie? You always used to protect us. Was it him? Did Fusaishi tell you to say that? Did he make you change? No, he didn't. I'm just following his example and thinking for myself. Things I don't want to be true could actually be true, and I can't look away from them.
And so you decided to vote against me and ruin our friendship.
I mean, listen to yourself. The Yasu I know would never try to guilt me into submission like that. If you ask me, you're the one who changed. So, who will you vote for? I need to take responsibility for what I said. I suspected Yasu, and I'm sticking to that.
1 vote for Yasunaga Oribe. We messed up the order, but in terms of seating order, Tai is first. How will you vote?
I will vote for Kaori. I don't think Uematsu is a wolf.
What about you, Nosoto? So now you're being respectful. My answer doesn't change. In fact, Serizawa's words make me all the more certain. Yasunaga Oribe, in all honesty, your current attitude makes it hard to believe you are a wolf, but it's likely your mother is. 1 vote for Kaori Oribe. What about you, Yasunaga Oribe? I'm still voting for Rikaku Uematsu.
I'm voting for Rikaku Uematsu too.
The child.
Ah.
Can be ignored.
Wait, Miko, think. Your vote might decide whether the humans win or lose.
Cheer, you'll go that far. You'll trick a child to take her vote.
If that's what it takes, I'll do it. Miko, you don't want Rikaku to be gone, right? No. Then...
Pointless. Even if she votes for me, it'll just be a freeway tie.
I choose who I don't need? Yes. Then I'll go with the lady. She was scary.
You mean the woman from the dining hall?
Mm-hmm.
It's decided then. No. This has to be a sick joke. Mom will die because of something like this. A vote is a vote.
It's over.
I heard muffled screams and sobs from the dining hall behind me. Gagged and tied, Kaori Oribe was still wailing. She couldn't move properly and had a pole fixed to her shoulders, but I was still worried enough to check every now and then. The lack of change helped calm my nerves. But at the same time, I resented myself a bit for it. Quite a bit of time had passed since the feast had begun. What kind of decision would they make? The daily wolf lynching, hanging, had failed every single time so far. Considering the number of days remaining and how many people were left, if they messed up today, the humans would lose all hope of surviving. If either Kaori Oribe or Rikaku Uematsu ended up chosen, there would just be no chance anymore. Once I saw people leaving the hall, my mouth moved on its own. It's done then. Their eyes were steady. They walked in my direction. Not to me, though, but to the dining hall. You chose Kaori? I asked anyway. I was speaking to the last representative of sanity in this place, Ionosuke Nosato. Move. We didn't even converse. His tone and the look in his eyes were different from usual. His usual arrogant pride was gone, and in its place stood a deadly determination. Yasunaga. I lost. Haru.
I was against it.
Basen.
It's the will of Shinai.
Chiemi.
Haruaki, take the girl.
Meiko was at the rear of the group. Somewhat hesitantly, she walked up to me. I moved aside to let them pass. They all entered the dining hall and dragged out the victim. The ones holding the ropes and doing the dragging were Kyunosuke Nosato and Chiemi Serizawa. Following behind was Tai Yamawaki, prodding her onward with a bamboo broom. Stop. As his mother cried out in pain, Yasunaga Oribe followed the group, hand in hand with Haru Makishima. Stop them. Haru Makishima was bawling. Yasunaga Oribe was shaking, not even trying to hide his sobs. His face was warped in anguish. Someone. As the group faded away, the gag fell out and the victim's voice grew loud. Not a scrap of reason remained, only raw terror. Okay, yeah, you get it. Or perhaps madness. Oh. Please, someone. Beg for her life. However, I didn't hear any pleas to the very end, and I painfully realized I wasn't participating in the feast. I wasn't part of this life selection game bound by otherworldly rules. Ah. Don't look. I turned Meiko away, hugged her, and covered her ears. Because of that, I couldn't cover my own. Parent-like dedication. What a weird idea. Anyway, as the group disappeared into the mist, I somehow felt as though the screams or laughs grew even clearer. I was subjected to disillusion until the very end. During the final moments, the mother called out her son's name. It was the name of the elder son, and he responded by calling for his mother. But at the very last moments, it felt like the victim shouted out a different name. There was a strange sound, followed by silence. Meiko. Meiko's body was surprisingly warm. In response, she just nodded. Let's escape from this place tomorrow. She nodded again. Give up on Rikaku Uematsu. Meiko started crying. I let her go, took her by the hand and led her to the dorm. There, I took all the remaining food I had. Then I escorted her back to her place. Lock up. I'll come pick you up tomorrow morning. Still crying, she nodded. Eat this. All of it, okay? I gave her some food and closed the door. Once I turned around, I saw them. Today's feast is over. There wasn't a hint of emotion in his voice. I see. As one who didn't participate in the feast, I was in no position to criticize or support them. They just turned around and returned to their places, leaving no indicator whether they'd actually heard me. 3 of them were headed in the same direction. I didn't feel like joining them, instead casting a glare at their backs as they walked. My powerlessness was killing me. Under the assumption I would die tomorrow, I decided I would go through the mists down to Saranaga, a strict taboo here. What kind of death would that get me? Would I be injured? Wander into some other world? Something else entirely? Or perhaps I'd be eaten by a monster? I still had that incomprehensible memory, but it was enough to make me suspect that was the most likely scenario. Normally, people didn't remember dying. The unknown was scary, but journeying into the unknown meant conquering that fear. So you could say there were some perks to remembering that death. But if it was guaranteed that I would die like that, I wasn't really keen on the idea. That had hurt like hell, not to mention how terrifying the experience was. Think of a better way to die. One that won't hurt so much. Or at least would be worth the pain. Like if it led to the survival of a young child. Anyway, I had waged on my life. All that remained was finding supporters. I closed my eyes and took a few deep breaths. Whoosh. I threw a Yakuza kick into the wall. Ah! Then I did a low kick with the other leg. Ah! The 7 treasures have finally been lost. To the elements, the sacred orb reduced to rust. In the jungle of the decadent void, the Buddha's corpse shouts out, "Ah!" What is he doing? As I sang the Buddha's ash rock, whatever that is, I attacked the wall with my ass, which prompted a response from the other side. Shut up. I heard Chiami's angry voice through the front door. You sound like you enjoyed it. No one would know how to react to that. The walls here were thin, apparently. Anyway, let's escape tomorrow. This is your idea of a conversation. If you can still talk like that, you're perfectly sane. Escape it is. Let's say bye-bye to this nest full of crazy. Listen, Haruaki. I'm serious. Still outside my door, she fell silent. It was only about 8, still a safe time. I walked up to the door and unlocked it. Damn, you look awful. Is it that bad? Ah, just joking. What's with the jokes? Am I my boyfriend now or something? You put on a tough face, but it's a mask hiding some supernatural suffering, isn't it? Come on, talk to me. Well, don't if you don't want to. Take a seat. Pardon the intrusion. Alone in an empty room, we sat cross-legged and looked at each other. Tell me what happened during the feast today. Who are the wolves? I don't know. And I don't even care anymore. The situation was hopeless. She felt the same way. So far, there wasn't a single lynching with a good reason behind it, and it didn't feel like they'd gotten lucky and killed a wolf. If only that scrawny rich guy were a wolf, it'd be so easy to hate him. Takumi said he's clean, so that's not likely. I know. Still, assuming Yasunaga was actually a wolf, I really doubted he was cold-hearted enough to keep up the act of a human while seeing off his mother to her death. Like Chiemi had pointed out, it was best to assume Kaori had only done what she did for her son. If everyone died and only one was left, he'd be the victor regardless if he was human or a wolf. Probably. Whatever the case, it was important to note that it was wrong to guess whether Yasunaga was a wolf based on this alone. Kaori Oribe was in a messed up mental state that led her to plot the deaths of herself and everyone else just to save her son. It was simply the immense power of motherly love at work. I'd messed it up by sending Haru to the 2nd floor. Kaori probably resented me for that. Not to mention I was the one who'd pinned her down. Being the target of a dead person's enmity was a rare experience, and in my opinion it was uncomfortable. Turns out I couldn't follow your example. My example? Yeah, I tried to think and did stuff, but, well, was I a bad influence on her? Well, carefully deliberating your actions was never a bad thing, obviously. Also, it was worth noting she pointed out that Yasunaga trying to guilt-trip her wasn't like him. Her own intuition was important too. Besides him, there was Tae, who believed nothing but the superstitions, Haru, who always agreed with Yasunaga, and Meiko, the one who sealed Kaori's fate. Everyone is suspicious.
Yeah, that's why I don't care anymore who it is.
Chimi hung her head. I've decided to help Meiko.
How? By running away with her? I'm telling you, it's pointless.
It's better than just sitting around waiting for death, isn't it? And if she turns out to be a wolf, you'd be down to 1. Lucky day, huh?
Would it be? I don't know anymore.
I killed someone. She'd said it casually, but I could tell that was hard for her to say. It's not your fault. I responded equally casually. I felt like breaking the illusion would be too much to handle.
Oh, like you don't care at all.
You were against it, weren't you?
Not stopping the murder makes me a partner in crime, doesn't it?
I'm the same in that regard.
Oh, right.
Also, the law would understand that you made the wrong decisions because of the circumstances.
Law, huh?
Well, being punished under a proper rule of law is infinitely better than being punished by some weird laws of some mountain. Or what? Do you want to die? Do you want to die a supernatural death? No dice, huh?
Yeah.
Man, this was complicated. Is it God's fault?
A half of it, yeah.
But you can't explain the other half.
Right.
And talk about God at least.
How do I put this? God is misfortune.
Hmm?
Well, I don't mean that literally. It's just that it's because of God that we can't attain happiness.
Is God visible?
Yeah, we've all seen it. But its true form might be invisible.
Let me ask about the visible part. Is it human? Though slowly and hesitantly, she gave me a light nod. Is it someone from Yasumizu? Silence. Neither yes or no. Then, is it someone from Kami Fujiyoshi? She kept her silence. Her shoulders were shaking a bit. Then,
No, it's not human. We can deal with humans, but God is beyond them.
Shit, I knew it would go like this. Calm down and explain, otherwise we'll both be killed.
Fine, I just want this nightmare to be over already. Hey, Haruaki, kill me. If it's at your hands, I think I can really die.
What are you saying? Get a hold of yourself.
I am. I'm not corrupted. I'm not insane. I'm not. It's Fujiyoshi that's crazy. It's God that's crazy.
Is God some state of being? I just kind of blurted out something without thinking. Jimmy was clearly in a state of panic. The despair was one cause, but someone panicked like this couldn't explain themselves properly. Also, I didn't feel like this was simply some spiritual being she could see. She could perceive God as a sensation of sorts, and the fact others couldn't caused her to panic. Explaining a sense like that wasn't easy, and trying to explain it in detail was also a reminder of how much it scared her. I had to try and understand what she was sensing, and find a better word for it than God. That was what I'd thought to myself after saying those words, but why did she suddenly go quiet? She was raising her head and her eyes were wide, staring right at me. She'd completely stopped voicing her pain. Did I hit the nail on the head? As I considered that possibility, I felt a cold, damp breeze from behind me. She wasn't staring at me. She was staring at something behind me. I turned around, following the direction of her eyes. How long had the front door been opened? I'd forgotten to lock the door. And how long had that thing been there? Hi, Haru. There was a person outside. Was it even human? Through the darkness, I could see that it definitely had a humanoid silhouette. But it was definitely abnormal. Its body was covered in bandages. No, sutras? It was a smallish boy or girl covered in marked cloth. Again, was it even human? I asked the same question again, unable to even voice the words. I couldn't move a finger, or rather, I didn't because I had no idea what would have happened if I did. As the tension began to overwhelm me, I saw its lips move.
The wolves cometh to the smell of Yomi. Cleanse, shelter, and dream. Daughter of Fujiyoshi.
Fushioshi? Is that a spelling mistake? A howl. I heard something fall. Turning back around, I realized it was Chiemi. Chiemi! Still confused, I rushed over and caught her. It was a momentary loss of consciousness. She hadn't fainted, she just seemed to be drifting at the border of reality. Hey, wake up!
Why am I here?
What was that thing?
What thing? Weird. So sleepy. Sorry, I'm going back.
Chiemi stood up. Her eyes were utterly devoid of life. She headed to the door. It was closed. There was no one there. I set that matter aside for now. Chiemi was way more important. I had to stop her. That was why I'll take you out of here. Wrapped my arms around her. If you want to throw away your life, give it to me. Tomorrow morning, I'll take you and Mako and leave this place.
You and Mako? Not just you?
That was her first response in a while. Well, you entrusted her to me. I'll honor the trust you showed me until the end.
Man of integrity, huh?
You noticed? Well, there's also the fact that I'm just not too keen on letting a child die.
You've dropped the tough guy act, Haruaki. Also, when did you drop the honorific?
You don't like it?
I don't mind. It's just... Shouldn't there be a transition point for these kind of things?
Go out with me.
Sure.
So, let's get out of here.
Okay. Just so you know, I'm only saying that because I don't mind dying with you. Sorry, but Mako's barely a blip on my radar.
It's not very responsible, is it?
Jamie is a girl with many brain problems, so she prefers to rely on people older than her.
Leave it to me. Also, we're taking anyone who wishes to join us.
What? I'm not getting some special treatment here.
You are. You just have a choice, but now that we're dating, I'm taking you whether you like it or not.
Not sure I'm happy about that one.
Do you know I'm actually not a very popular guy?
Haruaki. Thanks.
Her teary voice compelled me to embrace her.
If I'm killed by the wolves tonight...
Don't say that.
I don't care what. Take a part of me outside.
Don't worry.
Scared.
I'm right here. I'm here for you. It hurt to say baseless things. Even so, I kept on saying whatever I could to make her feel better. This went on for only 10 or so minutes, though. Even if the wolves didn't pay us a visit, we'd have to respect the rules of living here. We awkwardly exchanged some parting words, and I saw her off as she returned to her room, her parting ways with a frail smile on her damp face. Well, rip Chiemi. Tomorrow. Everything would be decided tomorrow.